Hey guys, it's Lori as usual, Mugbook Monday. This is March 27th, and tonight our leader trainers are Norma Lopez and Cheryl Sykes. And Cheryl, am I saying your name correctly?
It's like a hard CH, like a chair.
Cheryl. Oh, okay, Cheryl. Yeah, because Jackie said that earlier, and I wasn't quite sure, so I'm glad I asked. So Cheryl Sykes, and they're going to do training tonight on prospecting. So I am going to be behind the scenes answering questions if you guys have them in the chat, or if during their training portion. We're going to record this portion, and then for Q&A we're going to take it off recording. So take it away, ladies.
Okay, well, thank you, Lori. Good evening, everyone. This is Norma Lopez, District Manager from Arizona. I have been in Jafra for over 27 years. Previous life was a design project leader for the power company, retired 9 years ago and loving every day of my retirement. So I've been invited to talk to you about prospecting. And so I wanted to give you some good information, so I did a little research on what is prospecting. You know, we all have our idea of what it is or what it should be. So is prospecting the same as a lead? Well, no, it's not. So I'm going to share with you, and I've got my notes to keep me on track. A prospect is actually a potential customer that you have qualified as fitting certain criteria for, in most cases, our market, you know, that fits our target market, and we're skincare, fragrances, toiletries, and so on and so forth. So that is what a prospect is. You've already talked to that person and you know they're going to fit this criteria. So there is a difference between a prospect and a lead. A prospect is often confused as a lead, but a lead is an unqualified contact. This is somebody that you just have name, phone number, email. Maybe somebody gave it to you, a referral, you got it at your events. You know, just a name is all you really have about this person. You haven't asked any questions to find out if that person has an interest in what we have to offer. So until we do that, they are just a lead. In our business, it is important to gather those leads first. Then we set up an appointment to meet and talk with them and see if they will be a right fit. If our business is a right fit for them, are they open and receptive to our products? And we want to do this before we spend too much time on that. So prospecting is the act of finding leads and then turning them into prospects. So they're leads first, prospects second. So leads come from a variety of places. You can talk to people while waiting in line at the grocery store or any department store. In most cases, however you do that, your goal is to determine if the person could become a viable prospect for you. And you do that by asking a few questions to see if they have an interest in our market. So while you're standing in line, you can strike up a conversation that would get you the information about whether or not the lead will be receptive to our market. And there's many ways you can do that I'm sure we'll discuss later. So once you've determined that the lead could be a prospect, and you did that because they have expressed an interest, next you want to schedule an appointment and ask if this, and this can be done in a variety of ways, including phone call. You can, the best is in person, but sometimes that's not always possible. Of course, social media is always there, email. So your goal is to determine if the lead is interested, basically. We don't want to waste time on the process if they're not expressing an interest. Sometimes just because we have a name and contact information does not mean they're interested, they're just a lead. So prospecting leads and qualifying prospects are just two steps, which includes, first of all, gathering leads so you can turn them into prospects. And then second, determining if the lead will be good prospects. This shouldn't take long and usually involves a few short questions before you make sure you meet your lead meets the criteria. of a prospect. As a direct sales representative, you might be able to make a sale during your first presentation. Sometimes we are so lucky that, the first time we meet or we put something on the back of the hand and they love it. I mean, that's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to a lot of consultants. However, when trying to recruit others into our business, that process may require several conversations. With that said, each presentation of your product or service should also include a call to action. And of course, you always have to have a close. If the prospect says she's not ready, add her to your list to follow up with later. If she says no, ask if you can keep them on your list and contact in the future. And when you start gathering leads and names and information, you want to be organized. So keeping in mind that prospects are our greatest business asset. These are contacts that you've talked with and you have decided they're either potential customers or consultants. Keep track of your prospects and communications with them, and you can make a tracking form like their name, the date you talked to them, their contact information, and make any small notations of anything you would have discussed, because trust me, you won't remember 2 days from now, or in my case, it could be a few hours from now. But keep a tracking form. It doesn't have to be anything formal, a notepad, anything simple. I do have one that is just a generic one that I could email to Lori and then she could post later. But a tracking form not only allows you to keep information about your prospect, but also you can input notes on all your conversations, such as their questions and concerns that you can address later. You can also keep track of where they are in your process. Are they clients? Are they hostesses? Or hopefully consultants. For example, a lead can become a prospect, and a prospect can become a sale, and hopefully a repeat buyer and a consultant. So having said that, I will turn it over to Cheryl, and then Cheryl will share some ideas that she has on where you can prospect and networking groups and things to carry with you. Cheryl?
Thank you. It's I love to network and I love to prospect, and I have been selling Jafra for it'll be 26 years this summer. Prior to that, I was a vice president with one of the big national banks and worked on the corporate side of banking as a vice president. But I love to network. and I think the most important thing you can do as you are building your business, whether it is just going out and kind of going business to business and door to door, is just striking up conversations with people and really being interested in learning about them. And one of the ways that I built my business in Atlanta when I moved from Tampa was to go to different networking events. Because when I started my Jafra business in Tampa and we moved to Atlanta, when I had been selling Jafra for maybe, 2-3 years, I knew nobody here in Atlanta, absolutely nobody. So I went to some Chamber of Commerce after hours functions and took my royal jelly with me and just walked up to people and put it on the back of their hands and said I was doing a drawing for a free bottle and would they like to enter the drawing. Got tons of leads doing that, tons of leads. And it's like Norma was saying, these weren't necessarily customers, but they were people who might be interested. And then one of those people won the royal jelly as well as a facial for themselves and a friend, and everybody else won the backup prize, which was a facial for themselves and a friend. So it was just a real easy way to meet people and to get appointments to show our products to people. And that first year I was here in Atlanta, I had well over 100 parties basically from doing that. Now, I'm basically an introvert. although people find that kind of hard to believe, maybe I'm an extroverted introvert, I don't know exactly what it is, but when I remember very distinctly when I went to that first event, it took me walking around that expo floor 2 times before I opened my mouth to anybody, because I was just totally, just totally blown away by all of it, and not sure that anybody would want me to be putting royal jelly on the back of their hands. And so it took me a while to walk around and boost my confidence, but once I did, I found that everybody was interested. So going to different networking events on a regular basis is a great way to find leads, which can turn into prospects. And you should go to at least one networking event a week, whether it's a breakfast event, a lunch event, a dinner and after hours event, whatever. You should go to at least one a week. Find out what they are and go to them, and go to different ones. There are thousands of them here in Atlanta, and I'm sure there are numerous ones where you live as well. The other thing I would encourage you to do is to find what's called a closed networking event that you go to on a weekly basis, where the sole purpose of that organization is to pass leads amongst the businesses or the members. And when you're in a closed networking group, all of your referrals are warm referrals. So while they may technically call them leads, they definitely are prospects because they are qualified before you get them. And that's just the nature of the organization that you belong to. So attending at least one closed event a week belonging to that, as well as attending some other networking thing every week, is really a good way to get your name out and get visibility within your community. And when you're doing that, have a purpose in mind when you go to these networking events. You want to come away with 2 or 3, maybe 5 good connections. Never, ever, 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 ever just hand your business card out willy-nilly. Wait until somebody asks you for your business card. So really, be strategic in this and know why you're going and who you're going to. There was a networking over 40 event that I went to this past week. And I came away from that meeting with 3 really good referrals or contacts, I should say. And that's good, because then you follow up with them, you invite them to coffee, you get to know them a little bit better, you find out how you can help them, and they in turn will help you. One of the key things about networking is that you need to give before you can expect to get. So always approach it with the attitude of, how can I help you? What can I do to help you build your business? And in return, you will find that people will want to help you build yours. And that's really one of the main things. Another, I was talking to Norma about this earlier when we were planning our calls. A woman, I attended a marketing roundtable last week, and one of the presenters mentioned that you should never belong to an organization more than 3 years. And I thought that was a really interesting concept to consider. And her rationale was that the business connections that you have made within that group are going to stay connections regardless of whether or not you're a member. And it enables you to go to greener pastures, if you will, and to get your name known within another circle of people. So that's something else to consider. Once you meet somebody, it's always good to reach out to them on either Facebook or LinkedIn or some other venue to connect with them that way, and to really use that as a means of extending your relationship with them. And then once you're friends on Facebook, you can obviously invite them to like your business page with Jafra as well. When you're in a networking group, it's important to, or even an association or some sort of civic group, it's important to go deep within that group and to take on some leadership role. And the reason why that's important is because it gives you added visibility and added credibility within the group, and it gives you a first shot at being able to talk to people. So there are a couple of little tidbits that I want to share with you about networking, just some kind of rules of the road, if you will. One is always plan to leave a business or social gathering with at least 2 or 3 new connections, and those are good, strong connections, not just gathering up business cards. And you can take the time to actually write on the card something about the person. And this is a card of somebody that I met just this past week. And you can see that I've made notes on the front and the back of this card about who this person is, where I met them, when I met them, and something about them that'll trigger my brain when I look at that card as to who they are. So really having clear and doable goals when you go to a networking event. What do you want to get out of that event? A great way for people like me who are basically introverts is when you go to a networking event, act like you're a host and not a guest. And that gives you the mindset of always asking questions, greeting people warmly, things like that. And it puts you in a different mindset so that you're able to be more cordial and you can step out of your comfort zone a little bit that way. Giving before you getting is always good. What goes around comes around. And then Norma mentioned a database. I can't stress enough how important it is once you've gotten leads and prospects to really look at keeping a manageable system of them so that you can follow up and remember what you said to who and when you're supposed to follow up with them again. I use a database on my computer called ACT, A-C-T, and that's really good because it has a tickler system, a calendar system, and everything else in there. And it's a good way for me to jot down notes about somebody when I'm talking to them, and then tickle a time for me to either call them or follow up with them or any kind of to-do I need to do or meeting or anything else. So, you know, really wearing a Jafra pin all the time, excuse me, actually practicing a 3-foot rule when you're out and about marketing, which is nothing more than just anytime anybody gets within 3 feet of you when you're out and about, whether you're grocery shopping, clothes shopping, whatever you're doing, find a way to segue the conversation to Jafra and find some way to compliment them, just to strike up a conversation so that you can engage them to see if they are someone who might be interested in learning more about our company. So those are really the main, I think the main points. It's just always having that mindset of looking for people who might want to enjoy our products and having somewhere on a weekly basis that you can invite them to see your products, whether it's a coffee shop that you go to at a certain time every week, or something you're holding in your home, or a local restaurant or community center or something like that. So it's really basically just always keeping your antenna up to meet people who are interested in learning about what we do. So Michelle, do you have any questions?
I'm all good, thank you.
Okay.
And I'm back. That was great. I love it. Do you guys have any, Norma, do you have anything to add or to add on, or do you have
Yeah, I do. I just wanted to share what I carry with me in my purse. I carry 3 to 5 in my purse, and there are the sachets. Are you able to see them?
Yes.
Oops, there you go. Sachets, and I put them in a cellophane envelope with instructions for the half-face challenge, and I asked them to contact me in 3 days. And if they contact me sooner, then there'll be a gift for them. And so I have that in there. In some of them, I will have the flyer for the Stay Royal. I don't have it in all of them, and that's just a matter of choice. Sometimes I may just want to give them this to have a little bit more conversation, and sometimes if I just give them this, there may not be any more to share. Doing this has gotten me 3 Stay Royal clients, a new client that bought the whole set, and I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, but these are so inexpensive. There's 5 for $4 that you can buy. I really love this one, but I also keep this one because some women like the balm, and this one has the cream and the new eye cream, so I really like that too. And also I carry retinol. These are all in my purse, so I find I can only squeeze about 5 in my purse with all the other stuff that I got in there. But I also carry 5 capsules of our retinol, and of course they're purple because our previous packaging was purple. So I just turned them into samples, and I give them 5 with my business card and then instructions in the back. So everything is there. And I do go over it with them, especially the retinol, because they cannot use it in the daytime. They should not put it below their eyes. So I do cover some points with them. And I don't carry a lot of books with me, but I do have 1 or 2. I mean, there's just so much you can stick in your purse. And like Cheryl said, I don't just hand out my business card unless I see some interest or something that tells me this would be a good person to exchange with, and then they give me their information. I was just at an ABWA, it's a women's networking group conference in Long Beach. I was there for 5 days. I saw so many women that, oh my God, they need our royal jelly, but you just can't say that in an event like that. So I had my tablet and my little folder, and I had this. When I opened my folder, this was visible. The lady next to me, oh, what's that? And I told her, I says, oh, these are free. And I told her about our royal jelly. She says, well, I haven't heard of that. And this lady is from Orange, California, so I was surprised. And I says, well, this is a sample for a 3-day experience. Would you like to take one and then let me know how you love it? She goes, absolutely. So she took it. And then her friend sitting next to her is looking. I says, would you like one too? And she said, yes. Well, I already had their names because they were on my table. And I know what group they're with because I wrote down all their names as they're sitting there, And so those are just things that I do. I know how to reach them because they gave me their information. But those are just little things that I do that are inexpensive for us to get leads.
That's true. And what I do, I carry, this is what I carry around with me.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. We got these a while back.
Yeah.
But in here, I'd carry brochures.
Yeah.
I carry the same thing that Norma has, our cards. Carry the cards to hand out and have my labels on them. And then I also have a royal jelly longevity balm that I carry around with me to put on the back of people's hands because this is instant. Wow, I like it. I want to try it, which is the entree to giving them the card and saying I'd like to follow up with you and getting their name and number. So it's a way for me to keep everything. And I also carry order forms in here because you just never know when you meet somebody who's actually going to want to order something. But it is a great way to just to have everything in a neat little package that's not cumbersome to carry around. And keep it stable, I put cardboard, heavy cardboard in the bottom of it. So that gives the base of it the support to hold the weight of the brochures.
Yeah. I carry a see-through one. I don't know if you remember this one.
Yeah, I do. It's the same concept. It's absolutely the same concept. It's just a way to keep organized so that you always have literature and samples
Yeah.
and you know, everything with you that you need just to be able to share our products. And it harkens back to, I'm going to date myself a little bit here, but it harkens back to the days when I was a banker and you still actually had little signature cards. And that's the way you opened up checking accounts, was with those signature cards. And early on, the training was you never left the bank without signature cards. Same thing for us. You never leave home without information on our company and how people can find and see our products.
Right.
I carry my iPad with me everywhere too, because that's an invaluable way to be able to show all different kinds of videos, as well as sign people up should they want to join JAP or anything else.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see this? It's from 31. It's a cosmetic bag, but I have my tablet in there, and I have my sample. So when I opened it, the sample was on this side, and that's when she saw it. But I don't use it for cosmetics, so it's got everything in there. I've got agreements, books, all this stuff. So this is from 31, and instead of using it as a cosmetic bag, because we have a ton of them ourselves, I just use it for my tablet, and I've got everything ready to go with that, agreements and everything. So there's just, and I keep that in my car unless I'm going to go to an event where I don't have to really carry it all over, or I just stick my wallet in there. Rather than carrying that and my purse, I'll stick my wallet in there and then just carry that in lieu of my purse. So yeah, there's just so much, because you always have to be on the ready, because you never know when it's
I like that phrase.
Sort of on the ready. Well, you know, there's that commercial. You'll never know. No, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say you never know when the moment's right, but that didn't sound right. Be on the ready.
But you never know.
just you just don't know when the person is going to be receptive, or you're going to run into somebody that was looking for you, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. Cool, ladies. Well, I think unless you have anything else you want to add really quickly, I'm going to end the recording portion. So thank you for taking time to be here and sharing your thoughts. There's some great ideas. I know the girls that were not here live will be sad, but that they're not going to get to ask any questions.
Right.
But this training is awesome. I'm glad that we got to record it and that we'll be able to share it with them. So thank you very, very much. I'm going to end the recording now.
Thank you, Lori.